Annie, welcome back. Why don't you start us off and talk a little bit about, even though tax season's over, it's a good time to kind of see how we did, how the IRS did, how everybody did. So,
Yeah.
what you got?
Well, it is over. It is over for the first set of deadlines. It's never really over. I always feel like
No.
get past the spring and then the fall busy season comes, and the next thing you know, you're back in the spring. So I will say this year to me felt a lot smoother, a lot less uh, issues with delays and forms and stuff. I do like to look back. I like to compare, the prior year to the current year, looking at some metrics, and that's basically what the IRS does too.
Right.
So I will say the IRS is toting their horn this year. They had some significant strides with technology. They've had a lot more usage with the website. But other than that, comparably, it's very similar number of returns that were received, returns processed. The average amount of refunds went up like 5%. Same number of people waiting for their check versus direct deposit. So it wasn't like nothing jumps out at me as super shocking. Like I said, I think the biggest hurdle was, improving their website usage and their customer service. And I personally saw an improvement. Others have said they also saw an improvement. And the IRS put out some stats basically. So they said the quality, so like their phone service, the customer service, that the quality, get this, during the pandemic, it was 15%. That
Mhm.
was the quality of the service. Last year was 84, and this year is 88. So you can see, they've come a long way since the pandemic, but we're even seeing improvements from last year. So that's a good sign. I mean, they needed to, and hey, faster response times. We saw a little bit. It went down 4 minutes, so you had a 4 minute less wait. The average was a 28-minute wait. We had some more calls answered. They did hire. The IRS was hiring, so more people actually picked up the phone, and although they still had implemented the callback feature where you could say, press one to get a callback. And I think that has helped and has also been improved. I think last year there was well, they said they call me back in 4 hours and it was the next day or something like that. So I guess with more manpower, you get, the phones answered. It's good to see the quality of the responses going up. They had a lot of centers to help people prepare their taxes that stayed open later in the evenings. There were some that were even open on Saturdays. So, I mean, those are good, strides. And I think maybe if as long as that trend continues to go upward, I see now they're even talking about putting out more like tech uses on their website, ways to get portals, client information. So I hope that does come into play in the next year or so.
Yeah, I think, this probably was the best post COVID tax
Oh
season.
yeah.
Um, had fewer special things that we had to deal with. A
Hmm.
couple other things are beginning maybe to kick in that helps the IRS. They're, as you mentioned, they're trying to do more things um, without human interaction. You can
Hmm.
scan documents, upload documents to the IRS. Uh, Hopefully, more practitioners and taxpayers are setting up online accounts, and maybe some of the things they were calling for they can
Hmm.
find in those accounts. So, hopefully, this is a pattern of gradual improvement. As you mentioned, they've gotten some money to hire some people. Ultimately, that seems to
Yeah.
always be important. So, yeah, I think, it's anecdotal because we don't know every software, but, even the software providers seem to have better years this year than they
Mhm.
did, in the past, though I think H&R Block's desktop product had a problem on April 15th. I saw that, which couldn't have been fun for
No, that was unfortunate.
anybody trying to find the one interesting thing we've seen. I don't know if this is a nationwide problem, or if it's just around here, but we've had a huge problem with the postal service, and
Mm.
um, they built a brand new facility in Atlanta, and that was supposed to make things better, and it's made it worse. So we've had a lot of phone calls about people who mailed the check instead of having it withdrawn, and it hasn't shown up out of their bank account yet, so nobody knows where it is.
Oh,
Wanna know whether to stop payment and issue another one or what happens, and, we don't know where those things are, but the Postal Service, and it created some headaches
of
where
course.
people were mailing information in to
Mhm.
the tax preparers, and it was taking weeks to get somewhere when it should have taken days. So some things got better and the Postal Service got worse. And because they got worse, now they're asking for another rate increase. So we'll see
Oh, man.
how that works.
I haven't heard that out here in Texas, but, hopefully Atlanta will get it together. That's
Yeah, and it,
frustrating.
unless you were mailing checks. Now, again, some states, have different processes for
Mhm.
electronic payments, and sometimes people say, "I'd rather just mail a check; it's too difficult." Uh, the IRS is pretty good about it, though. You tell them to take it out, they're pretty good at that. They'll
They'll take your money
they'll
anytime.
give you money. But I know here in Georgia, they'll put money in your account, but they won't take it out of your account directly. You have to go through their website and set up something.
Oh,
Some people say, "Well, I'll
gotcha.
just mail a check," and then the check floats around for who knows how long before it shows up.